I'm going to start off with Mr. Nkedilim from Futuresoft. I want to get your thoughts about the e-naira in Nigeria. First, how do you see it when the central bank mentioned it, that it was putting this in the works and is going to roll this out eventually? And then the speed with which this happened, and now we have an e-naira, we have an e-naira wallet, and we're able to walk around with this central bank digital currency. How do you think about it and its rollout?
Much. So I think it's not something that actually happened overnight. I think this has been in the pipeline for a while, and there have been conversations about actually creating the CBDC for at least a year. There have been several different conferences where this was discussed in collaboration with stakeholders from the central bank and stakeholders from the ecosystem as well. So I think that, this has been sort of like a long way coming, and I think that we just have to see how it evolves, right? And, a lot of people sort of look at it as, oh, this might also displace the banks, but what we're actually seeing is that the banks still play a very significant role in the e-naira space, and the regulator is definitely ensuring that the banks are protected. And I think we're going to see a lot more development in the next year, and we're going to see how this really pans out and how the adoption rate goes as well. I think especially when it was launched, there were a lot of technical difficulties, like removal from the Play Store and things like that, and people having issues with the wallet not functioning, or when they try and sign up, the sign-up's not working, and the customer service not being great around it. These type of hiccups, I think, are common with new sort of services that are being launched. I think we're going to see iterations of the app. I think we're going to also see, sort of changes that are going to be created. And yeah, I think it's an interesting space to watch, especially to sort of see how the adoption works. My bet is that there's going to be a lot of government services that will start using the e-naira in order to drive adoption. And yeah, I think it's just, how do we engage with this CBDC, and how do we, sort of, what can we do with it? I think is for me, the biggest question, right? Are we going to be able to swap it against other CBDCs in other countries? Because especially for Pan-African trade, that would be a really big step in the right direction. Especially with the African Free Trade Agreement. So I think there's a lot of benefits that could potentially come from this CBDC, but there has to be a lot of collaboration. I think there also has to be a lot of engagement with the ecosystem in order to actually drive adoption. And I think that there has to be ways to actually use it that, can only be driven by making sure that all government services are payable through the e-naira, for example, right? Or when you want to make Pan-African payments, that you can use the e-naira and sort of swap it with a South African CBDC, for example, right? And I think a lot of the banks are sort of positioning to be able to be clearinghouses and custody providers for those type of services. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it.